Hello everyone, welcome back to YVEREST and Sexy Sundays. Today we're going to talk about something that many of our readers and followers have been asking us about, and that is what to do if your partner happens to be coming a little bit too fast for your taste. Well, first of all, we need to understand that the male sexual response is quite different from that of female sexual response, and that when you have indeed been doing all the things that we've been talking about, which is creating anticipation, building a lot of the excitement before you actually get to the bedroom, it is quite natural that your man is going to find it very, very difficult to control his orgasm. But, you know, that is not in any way a problem in the middle of a sex act, because simply it is like a compliment. He is very excited to be with you. And most importantly, remember that just because a man has had his first orgasm, that is by no means the end of sexy times. I think I've mentioned in previous videos that ultimately sex is not about one-time penetration. Yes, a lot of women enjoy penetration, and it's amazing because that is how Mother Nature created the whole idea of sexual intercourse between humans, but there's so many other things that you can do. So remember that for a guy, when he reaches the peak, let's say, of the arousal cycle, there comes a point literally called the point of no return, where it is pretty impossible for him to control ejaculation. But if that happens in the first 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if it happens at any point and you haven't reached a good enough level of arousal, all you need to do is slow things down. So the many techniques in which you as the female partner or the other partner, doesn't have to be gender specific, can really help your partner reduce this level of excitement by actually pressing on the perineum, which is that small piece of skin and body between the bottom of the penis and the anus, because that's where actually the muscles that control ejaculation are hiding. Which leads me to the way that if you are a male viewer and you want to actually increase your level of performance and the ability to last long in bed, you need to actually exercise, like literally do workouts for your perineum. And it's called the PC muscle. The PC muscle is that muscle that you contract when you're holding in urine. So if you're desperate to go to the bathroom and you know that that's not something that you want to have happen in your life, you're actually tightening your PC muscle. And when you tighten that PC muscle, you're essentially stopping the flow of urine, and it's the same with ejaculation. So I think we've posted on our Instagram before that men should actually do Kegel exercises, which is simply repeated tightening and releasing of the PC muscle as if you were holding in urine. And the more you do this, the more control it will give you. The second type of exercise that you can use as your sex workout is actually called edging. Edging is self-pleasure or masturbation that takes you just before the point of no return. So essentially bring your arousal levels up to almost the point of no return, almost the point of ejaculation, but you stop and you calm down and reduce pressure or friction on your penis until the levels of arousal go down to more manageable levels, and then you keep going up. And the more you learn to edge and the more you learn to stop yourself from ejaculating in that moment, the more you actually come closer to the point of being multi-orgasmic. There is this beautiful book called The Multi-Orgasmic Man, written by a guru in male sexual energy, Mantak Chia. And he talks about the fact that through one of the best ways for a man to be able to please a woman in repeated encounters during the same night is really to experience non-ejaculatory orgasms, which means that you can still experience the ecstasy of climax, but it doesn't mean that you have to ejaculate every time. So in that case, your sexual energy actually is retained within the body, and then you can control at what point during the sexual act you are able to ejaculate or you are willing to ejaculate. So to summarize, for ladies, if your partner needs to train to last a little bit longer, you really need to make sure that at the moment where you see that his testicles are actually lifting, which means that the penis is actually preparing for ejaculation, you actually need to slow down. You maybe need to remove pressure from the penis and the testicles. And if needed, if you are happening to give him oral sex in that moment, you can actually help him by pressing on the perineum to help him contract this muscle and stop the flow of ejaculatory liquid from his testicles. Then what to do if it happens very fast? Well, don't panic and don't worry about it. Simply direct his attention into him pleasuring you, because there's many other ways that a woman can be pleasured that do not involve an erect penis. So he can use his tongue, he can use his fingers, you can just go back to kissing, you can go back to just having a little cuddle. Remember that that for men it takes a little while for basically the ejaculatory fluid and the sperm to be rebuilt in the body. So men do need a little bit of time to come back to, let's say, a normal state of arousal after they've ejaculated. So be understanding. It's okay, you don't have to make jokes, you don't have to be critical. It's totally fine that you have a little break and you kind of think about something else for a little while. Ultimately, like I said, sex is not about penetration, sex is not about ejaculation, sex is about fun, connection, and the intimate experience that you have with your partner. And if you're actually able to talk about it and to calm his fears and to not make him feel judged or like he's not good enough for you, the next time around he will be able to control his desire for you and his inability to control himself, and you can have a much better sexual experience with your partner. If you are a man, if you are interested in becoming more of a sex marathon competitor, shall we say, then I would highly encourage you to work out this part of your body. You know, it's not just the muscles in this part of the body, or not just doing the squats, but actually they tell you when you're doing squats that you have to tighten your glutes and push your core muscles forward. That is very similar to contracting your PC muscle. And just make sure that you keep tightening several times a day. You know, technically, if women can do it in the queue at the post office and while sitting at their desk, men could also do that. So technically, this is the one workout you don't need to go to the gym for. You can do it anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter who you're with. And the second part is really, since most men are champion masturbators anyway, remember that you can actually switch the goal of masturbation from, you know, getting there fast and finding the buttons that get you to orgasm really quickly, to actually delaying that gratification and to masturbate for the pleasure of a non-ejaculatory orgasm, which means you get yourself all the way to the edge of that moment where you can't stop it anymore, pull it back down again and come back to it later. But obviously don't drop the level of excitement to zero, because it's going to be hard to bring it back. And the more you practice with this, the easier it will be for you to last longer when your partner is there. Of course, you also need to really consider the impact of worrying about whether you are a good lover, worrying about your inability to control yourself. So you do need to do some mental exercising and some breathing exercises to kind of take your mind off all your worries and anxieties. But essentially, if your body is ready and if you feel in control of your muscles in the pelvis, then it will be much easier for you to also control the mind. And you know, in some ways, sex is a little bit of a meditative practice where you're so connected to your partner that you worry a little bit less, ideally, about what's happening with yourself. So practice, practice, practice. I always tell women they need to tighten their PC muscles by doing Kegel exercises. There are many different beautiful ways of doing it. We're probably going to talk about it in a different video, to increase the impact of orgasmic contraction and therefore have much stronger pleasure that women can experience during sex. And also, the stronger your vaginal and PC muscles, the more you can give pleasure to your partner because of the compression that you can put on his penis. But you need to be careful not to put too much compression in case he's struggling with delaying the gratification of orgasm. So I hope this has been useful. I hope you've enjoyed this particular video. You know, remember to tighten your bum, your peach, so to speak, and make sure that you practice. When you go to the gym, as I said, on the bus, wherever you are, You can sit on Zoom meetings and really enjoy practicing for this. And again, if it happens, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be another time where you can do better. Ultimately, the best way of getting better is to remember that you are your only competitor, and as long as you are better the second time around and the third time around, nobody's going to judge you. So enjoy the Sexy Sundays, lovely ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about some more fun topics in the next few weeks. Keep watching this space. Thank you from me, Valentina and YVEREST. Have fun!